welcome to the channel. Today I want to tell you why a new Mario game announcement is imminent, alongside why I think it is likely to be the Switch successor's flagship launch title, and an incredibly cool concept you'll want to stick around for. To look at this, I'm going to split today's video into 3 parts. Part 1, we'll talk about why the announcement of a new Mario game is imminent. In Part 2, I'll cover the importance of Mario alongside the launch of the Switch's successor. And Part 3, we'll focus on what I think the next entry in the series will be, and a great concept that Nintendo should be considering. Mario Wonder was apparently not even made by the main Mario team. Makes you wonder what that team must have cooking for day one on Switch 2. So kicking straight into Part 1, and I think we can all agree that a new Mario game is on the horizon. We know that Nintendo are always working on Mario games. Miyamoto has specifically stated this himself, not that this news indeed shocked anyone. But there are a few specific reasons why I believe we'll get an announcement within the next few months, perhaps even in the inevitable upcoming Direct. Firstly, time between mainline Mario games is now longer than the gap between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, with the last fully fledged new 3D Mario game, Mario Odyssey, releasing the same year as Breath of the Wild, back in 2017. Yes, we've had Bowser's Fury, which was excellent, but that was an add-on to a re-release, and content, while exceptional, that you could blast through in a few hours. The development time for this new game alone suggests we are heading towards something very special. Next, we know that Nintendo don't actually have any of their big hitters on the horizon, and it very much feels like they are winding the Switch down, which I'll discuss more in Part 2. Yes, there are a couple of good remakes on the way, but none of these have the same gravitas as a new mainline Mario, Zelda, Animal Crossing, Smash Bros, and probably even Splatoon, now that it seems to have cemented itself as an important Nintendo IP. Nintendo will be acutely aware of this, so the chances are that this is completely by design, and it will not be long at all before they reveal something big for their fans to look forward to. Then we have the hints on social media, and the Nintendo marketing team do seem to enjoy teasing fans. But the Mario content seems to have ramped up, and not just because of the recent release of Mario vs. Donkey Kong. We also often see regular references to Mario Odyssey, almost as though they are planting seeds, trying to invade our subconscious. But why have we not heard anything at all about this new Mario game yet? Not even a whisper. Well, this leads me nicely into Part 2. It's fairly obvious that the Switch is now reaching the end of its very successful life cycle, and many predict this will be its twilight year. And Nintendo will have been planning their next big move for some time. One fundamental part of that plan will be the launch of the Switch's successor. It is paramount that Switch 2, name pending, has a big game to support it out of the gate, at launch. And they've used up Tears of the Kingdom as the Switch's swan song, so we won't see another new Legend of Zelda game for years. Part of the reason attributed to Switch's success was having 2 huge games included in its launch window, Breath of the Wild and Mario Kart 8, which most people hadn't played, as not many people, in relative terms, bought a Wii U. Nintendo should have learned from their past mistakes by now if we look back at some of their toughest launches. Take the 3DS, for example, which eventually went on to be exceptionally successful, but not before a turbulent opening year. They even had to drastically slash the price, resulting in the creation of the Ambassador Program for early adopters, in which Nintendo provided said people with free Game Boy Advance and NES games. But the reason behind its tough start was a lackluster launch lineup. I personally quite enjoyed Pilot Wings Resort and Street Fighter 3D, but it wasn't enough for me to recommend the system to anybody. Ocarina of Time, one of my favourite games, came to the system a few months after launch and was a phenomenal rework by developer Grezzo, with the game looking better than ever in 3D, but it was ultimately still a game we had played before. So what was it that really kick-started the system's success? Well, you guessed it. It was Mario. And we knew Mario Kart was coming, and would be a resounding success, but it was the reveal of Super Mario 3D Land and its exceptional gameplay that really brought the system to life. That was the first game that really made me glad to have invested in the system. Many more games would follow, but Super Mario 3D Land was outstanding and, most importantly, a unique and fresh experience. I still replay it every so often. A truly wonderful game. The Switch's successor, therefore, needs a big Mario title right from the off. While Mario Kart 9 would clearly be a prime candidate to fulfill this role, Nintendo's business plan is clearly to squeeze every last penny out of Mario Kart 8, with the DLC Booster Pass having only just wrapped up. Mario Kart 9 is inevitable, but I see it being a post-launch title to help with momentum. Which segues nicely into Part 3. What, therefore, will the next 3D Mario game look like? This is a series that is constantly looking forward, so while there is a deep respect of what came before, often seen in recurring characters, and the way that new mechanics still have their foundations built within the easily identifiable Mario formula, the series is equally not shackled by the games of yesteryear, unafraid to obliterate our expectations of what is feasible within a platforming space. But why haven't we heard anything about a new game yet? Well, I strongly believe that Nintendo have tested the waters of what they want to achieve with the next game in the series. Following the well-received Bowser's Fury Edition to 3D World on Switch, thanks to its exceptional gameplay, I would put good money on the idea that Miyamoto and the Mario team have been developing a fully fledged open-world Mario. It is clearly their vision, and something they half-achieved with Mario Odyssey's massive kingdoms. There is something holding the announcement of this fully open-world Mario back, however, and that is the power of the Switch itself. Disclaimer here, I love the Switch, and for its size, it has been an incredibly capable device. Having said that, and most notably here, Bowser's Fury could only handle 30 FPS when undocked, and we know how good Nintendo are at optimizing games, leaving the new Pokémon games to one side for a moment. And we can all agree that given the fluidity and finesse of control required for Mario games, they really do have to be at least 60 FPS as we move forward. What's exciting here, and linking in with what I said earlier, this new Mario game has been made for Nintendo's new hardware, whether that be a Switch 2 or otherwise, because of the extra processing power required. Because Nintendo are clearly thinking big here, but how big are they thinking? Well, if Miyamoto's team have gone down the route of a Mario Odyssey sequel, that would be no bad thing, as long as they get rid of the tutorial controls every time you throw Cappy to capture something. So unnecessary. I want all of that glorious screen real estate uncluttered, and to see the game in all its splendor. Otherwise, the game was as good as it gets, but I think they've gone bigger than this. And here's where I see that awesome concept. Open world, yes, but wait for it. What about if they have combined the best bits of Mario Odyssey and the best bits of Mario Galaxy and made an open galaxy Mario game, where you can hop in a spaceship and fly to another planet, which is then fully explorable? How awesome would that be? And I'm not talking No Man's Sky scale here, one step at a time, people. But having 15 to 20 explorable planets, each one being 3 times bigger than Odyssey's biggest kingdoms, while combining all of the great anti-gravity gameplay from the Galaxy games and melding them with Odyssey's tight controls and capture mechanics, and even some brand new mechanics which, I think it's safe to say, are a given, just something to think about as we build the hype. Wrapping up then, I would love to hear where you think the Mario series is heading next, and whether we'll see it on the Switch or the Switch's successor. What new concepts would you like to see in a new Mario game? And if you share my passion for all things Nintendo, please help me grow this channel and hit that subscribe button. I've got lots of stuff planned, including Mario Kart content and where the Donkey Kong series will go next. Thanks. Have a good one, and catch you next time.